Good morning, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. Today is Friday, the 26th. I wrote it down. That's how I knew. And the moon is in Scorpio. It will be moving into Sag at 5:38 p.m. here on the East Coast of the U.S. We still have quite a bit of intensity going on. That hasn't really stopped. And we're still sort of working out the eclipse energy and the grand trine and the kite in the sky and the yod. I talked all about that, although I do believe the yod might be out of orb today. So perhaps some of the stress on Mars, our ability to move forward, has eased a bit anyway. We do have the moon very active today with those transpersonal planets, and so when that happens, that transpersonal energy becomes more personal to us. We have a trine of the moon while it's still in Scorpio to Saturn that occurs 1:45. So just before 2 p.m. Here on the East Coast. And then the moon moves into Sag, and it interacts with a trine to Neptune, an opposition to Uranus, and a sextile to Pluto, all three of the transpersonal planets. And we also have a Sun quintile Jupiter. Quintiles are the key word for quintiles are talents, and the Sun and Jupiter expand your talents. But always when the Sun and Jupiter come together, even in quintiles, sometimes it can be too much. The Sun and Jupiter being the largest bodies in our solar system, taking up the majority of the mass. When those two interact, whether it be a positive in the case of a quintile, or negative, like say in the case of a square, although it can be just too much confidence, overreaching, and all of that. So even though the quintile is generally a positive aspect that we get an opportunity to utilize our talents, we still have to keep in mind of perhaps our own physical limitations, our energy limitations, and we don't just sort of like express all of it at once and then exhaust ourselves after that. So that's what I want to say about that. But today is a day in which we can actually get a good sense of how we're feeling. It's a day that we can build, but it is also a day that we can be willing to make the universal, in a way, a personal experience. Understanding that our individual lives are also part of this great evolutionary moment in history. And we see countries changing, we see the world order changing, and we're changing along with it. But I think a little bit more sure of who we are, what we're here to do, and how we can contribute to make the change be not the negative one that everybody fears, but a positive change where we can all benefit from. But in order to do that, we have to have a vision. And I think today we get a sense, we get a vision of possibility. Now, I'm not going to lie, here in America, we're sort of on the brink of closing down the government again. Hegseth called all the leaders of the military to Washington. I don't know, that seems a little dangerous. I don't know, but we'll see what that means. We just have to keep in mind that these guys do a lot of stuff for show, and it's like play acting, and they want to convince us they know what they're doing, or they want to convince us this is the way things are going to be. But we, the people, always have a stake in this stuff. So have your voice heard. Do what you need to do to move your life, and the life of your community, and then ultimately the life of your country, and then ultimately the world in a more cohesive and direction, where we are supporting each other, supporting ourselves, supporting the world, and creating the solutions, the many solutions for the many problems that we face. So, but as far as personal stuff, the idea of the moon going from Scorpio to Sagittarius, we will feel a certain amount of release and freedom, because it's been an intense week, and Scorpio is an intense sign, and Sagittarius gives us a little perspective. It's in Scorpio that we walk through the valley of death, really. Scorpio is about death and rebirth. And then by the time the moon gets to Sagittarius, it's like we've been walking through a cave and we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we come to and we keep following the light, and we find ourselves out of the cave but on the side of a mountain. And suddenly things start to make sense. Suddenly we see a bigger picture. And that is something that we're going to have an opportunity to see as the moon moves into Sag, and we can get a personal vision or a personal view. And once we know where we are and what's ahead of us, then we can take actions. Because after we have Sag, then we have the moon in Capricorn, and when the moon was in Capricorn, we work to make things more stable, more workable, more logical in a way, and something that will last the test of time. So we have some work ahead of us, but all in all, I think we're all going to be okay. I know it doesn't look like we're all going to be okay, but look in your own heart and believe it, and apply it to your own life, wherever you can, even in the smallest of ways. Gratitude is the key to the kingdom. So even in your worst days, there's always something to be grateful for. I'm grateful for you guys. I'm grateful for my friends. I'm grateful that I'm going to Chicago. I'm grateful for Charlie. I'm grateful for you, Charlie. I haven't fed him yet, so he's a little... I'll feed him right now. We'll go inside. Okay, don't worry about Charlie. He's very well fed. All right, everyone. Tonight, I'm going to see David Cook. We're even going to the meet and greet. That's, I don't know. I'm just going along for the ride, but it should be fun. And last time I saw him, I got his astrology information. So if he wants to know, I'll tell him what I see. But until, I'll keep you posted on that. All right, guys. Have a great day. Much love. Namaste.